MJ, and in today's video we're going to be going over yarn labels and weights of yarn. So I've picked out 6 different weights here. So I have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. So I'm going to explain those to you in a minute. But I'm going to stop my video here and I'm going to take these labels off so I can show you them a little bit better. Okay, so let's start out by looking at our number 1 yarn. We're looking at Sugarbush Itty Bitty. And this is a yarn that I would typically use for socks, but you can use it for lots of other things as well. So a 1 is super fine, and it's going to show you here how many stitches approximately you will have in 4 inches using these hook sizes. Okay, so the smaller weight the yarn, you're going to get more stitches, okay? You're using a smaller size crochet hook. So now what you want to do is always follow along with your pattern. Quite often you'll see the little symbol, or they'll tell you the weight of yarn and what, if it's super fine, worsted weight, etc. So a pattern will generally have that information. Now you want to go by the gauge that's in the pattern, because sometimes a designer will use a larger hook to get a looser stitch or a smaller hook for a tighter stitch. So you want to follow along with whatever gauge that they give you. So it's always important to make a gauge swatch at the beginning. And if they've told you in the pattern, let's say that you want that 32 stitches are in 4 inches, the swatch that you want to make, you're going to want to make it a little bit larger than the 32 stitches. And then you'll measure out to see how close you are and adjust your hook according to the gauge in the pattern, okay? Because we all crochet sometimes a little bit differently. Some are tighter, some are looser. So you want to just play around getting the right hook to meet the gauge of the pattern. Okay, so that's the first thing, information you want to be able to see on the ball of yarn. Now also we're looking at what the content is. So this yarn has merino, it has nylon, which is typical in a sock yarn, and it has cashmere, and that makes this yarn really, really soft. It will tell you the ounces and the grams, the yards, and the meters. Okay, so now what I want you to know about yarn weights is they're not all created equal between companies. So they have a range that they go by. So when you go to my blog, I'm going to give you a little bit of tip on how you can do an equation with your grams and your yards to see approximately what really the weight of this yarn is. So you can compare different brands. It's a good tip when you are looking at substitutions with patterns. You really need to get a handle on if the yarns are comparable thicknesses. They may both be a 1, but the thickness could be different. And I'm just going to give you a quick example of that. Okay, so this is my Sugarbush Chill. Sorry, this ball's a little messy. So this is Chill here, and Chill is a super bulky weight 6 yarn, and this is a roving yarn. So we also have different types of weaves, and this is what a roving yarn looks like. And this is twisted. As you can see, looking at the twist, it's not a very tight twist, but it does have a twist to it. So this is a super bulky weight 6. And you can take a look at how thick this yarn is. And this here is a super bulky weight 6 as well. Okay, so they're both classed as a 6, but look at the difference. Okay, so if I were to write a pattern with this yarn and you went out to the store and found a super bulky weight 6 and you picked up this yarn, we have a big difference here, okay? So the pattern is not going to work up the same. So this is an important thing to look at when you're looking at substitutions, and that's why I'm going to include this little blog post that's going to show you how to find comparables. So it's a guideline, these weights, But between different brands, you are going to find some differences, okay? So I'm just going to quickly, I've gone over most of the details, but as you can see, this one says it's a 2 and it's a fine yarn. And this is Sugarbush Bliss we're looking at. And here we have a 3 and it's a light weight yarn. Okay, so whenever you're reading a pattern, it's going to tell you the number, and then you can check the balls of yarn to see if you're picking out the right yarn. Here's now our 4, which is medium or worsted weight. This is probably one of the most common yarns that you'll find, but we're getting a lot more variety, especially with bulkies. So then we have a bulky weight 5, and that's our Canoe. And then we get to our bulky weight, which is super bulky 6. And now you can also find now some 7s, which is jumbo, but it's rare to find the jumbo size yarn. So this is a 6 and a super bulky. So I thought it was important to include this little video just on yarn labels, because if you are brand new to crochet knitting, this is something you're not going to be aware of. So I wanted to make sure you had an idea of what labels look like, and when you're following along in patterns, what you're looking for. So now if you want to hop on over to the blog, I'm going to explain how to break this down even further when you're looking at a substitution for a pattern. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to touch base on with you is the yarn color. So here you'll see the color has a number and a name, and it's in French as well. So it's 1017 Grey River, and this is the lot number. This is really important with some yarns because dye lots, the colors can slightly vary. So if you're working on a project and you've picked up yarn that has a lot number, you want to make sure if you need to get more, you're getting the same lot. Because if you don't, you could have different, even though it's the same color, it could come out slightly different depending on the dye. So now I also wanted to show you this ball here. It tells you that, where is it? There's no dye lot. So for this yarn, you won't have to worry. If you have used this ultra blue and you need to order more, you're not concerned about dye lots because the color is going to be identical. So that's, and here this is where it tells you the color as well on this ball. Also, it tells you your washing instructions, which is also important. So if you make something with the yarn, it tells you it's machine washable and dryable. I always recommend that maybe you put it on a delicate cycle, and I prefer to lay everything flat to dry just because the dryer is really hard on everything. So if you can avoid drying, that will prolong the life of your product.